Okay guys, this video is for my honors class. So honors has a couple more lessons. So if you're watching this and you're not in honors class, you can turn it off. You don't need to watch it. Okay, so what we are learning 2.5 is literal equations. So some of you might be wondering what a literal equation is. A literal equation is equations that have more than one different variable. So I don't mean like x is on both sides of the equation. I mean like an x and a y, or a x and a q, or something like that. It's got two different variables. So every formula that we've used, like you use in math or science, is a literal equation. Okay, it's got and here's lots of different examples, right? Area of a circle is pi r squared, so it's got a and r, two different variables. Volume has length, width, and height, so that they're all variables. Distance. I'm like, what the heck is d? I was thinking that's not diameter. Distance is rate times time. Okay, and then the volume, I'm guessing of a cube. No, not of a cube. Some other shape is length times width times height. Oh, a triangle, a prism, divided by 3. Okay, so these are all what we call literal equations. Normally what happens is we've got most of the pieces and we're just trying to find one variable. Like for example, we know the radius and so we try to find area. We know length, width, and height, so we find volume. Okay, but in this case, we're not going to have values for all of the variables, and so we're going to be solving for those and trying to figure out what the answers are. Sorry, whoa, that really didn't help, did it? Okay, so here's a hint. So when solving literal equations, you are solving for only one of the specific variables, okay? All variables will remain in your answer. So like I said, we're not going to actually be given the values of these. We're not going to say, okay, find the volume if the length is 3, the width is 2, and the height is 7. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is it's going to say solve this equation for W. And then we're going to have to solve this equation, for example, for W. Okay, so here's some steps. Okay, now granted, some of these steps you don't have to do, but they're just helpful steps for you. So in this case, this is asking us to solve for W, and what we have is 10 plus 2W equals H. So the first thing we want to do is circle which variable we're trying to solve for. Okay, be sure to include whatever sign is in front of that variable. So we want to circle this, and we're going to circle if there's anything attached to it. So we're trying to solve for W, so we're going to circle this whole thing like that. Okay? Then what we want to do is we want to undo the add or subtract first. You can only combine like terms. Okay, don't forget that. Because we have 3 different terms here. We have W's, H's, and numbers. Okay, so what I want to do is undo this 10 by adding or subtracting, right? Just like solving for X. No big deal, it's the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rewrite it. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides, because that's going to zero that out. Because just like when I'm trying to solve for X, I'm just trying to get W, in this case, all by itself. So now what I have left is 2W over here. But over here, I have H minus 10. Now, these are not like terms, so I cannot combine them together. So what I have to do is just write H minus 10. Notice how it didn't cancel anything out. Nothing's gone. The 10 is still there. The H is still there. It's just that now they're all on the right side instead of the left. Then the last step is to undo any multiplying or dividing. These steps are exactly the same as when we were solving for equations. Because we are solving equations, we're just solving them where they have more variables. To get the variable all alone on one side of the equal sign. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite this. 2W equals H minus 10. Remember, I'm trying to get this W all alone. So 2 is multiplying it, so I need to divide by 2 on both sides. Okay, now this part can get a little tricky. So notice how these cancel out, and I've got W equals. Now both of these terms have to be divided by 2. So H divided by 2 can't be done. So I'm just going to write it as H halves. Or you could put 1/2 H if you want. It doesn't matter. But negative 10 divided by 2 will give me a negative 5. So that would be our answer. That's the equation solved for W. Okay, it can start to get messy, so make sure you guys keep your work nice and clean and organized, because it can really start to get messy if you don't. Okay, all right, so let's try some problems together on the next page. Oh, right over here. All right, so we want to solve for x in the questions below. So they all have an x in them, and then they have some other, well, this one doesn't, but they all have some other variable. Okay, so this is just practice to remind us of what we're doing. X minus 6 equals 8. To solve for x, I would add 6 to both sides, and I would get x equals 14. Okay, really easy, right? So we're doing the same thing for b. We want to solve for x by adding n to both sides. That's an n. It looks like an h, kind of. Okay, those zero out. I get x equals, now, because I can't, here I could combine them. They were like terms, but here I can't. So I'm going to put my variable first, and then I'm going to put plus 8. But you could do 8 plus n too. Either way, it doesn't matter. So you could do 8 plus n, or you could even do n plus 8. Anyway, either way is correct, okay? And then same over here. I have to solve for x by adding b to both sides. Those zero out. X equals, oops, my paper just fell, c plus b, or you could even do b plus c. Doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Let's actually do some now. Let's do these ones right here that have, they're not all the same step. Okay, so we've got x. Oh, we're just doing, oh, I see. Okay, we're just practicing. So in this case, I don't know if you guys remember from the bingo, remember this is x divided by 4. So the opposite of dividing is multiplying. Remember, I'm solving for x. So times 4 times 4. Those cancel out. And I get x equals 20 times 4 is 80. Okay? So it's the same over here. If I'm solving this for x, but it's being divided by d, what I want to do is I want to multiply both sides by d. Okay? These cancel each other out, and I get x equals, and 20 times d is just 20d. Okay, so the answer would be x equals 20d. That's it. Okay? So now let's talk about it if we have a variable over here. So we had a number and a number. Now we have a variable and a number. Now we have all variables. So again, we're solving for x. We're going to multiply both sides by d, because that's what cancels those out. And we get x equals cd. Okay? C times d. I just throw them together like that. That's how you write it. All right. So now I'm going to do this one. Actually, I think you guys can do these ones. So I'm going to give you a chance to try these ones. Come up to me and let me see them if you're doing this at home or whatever, and make sure you've done them correctly. And that's it, you guys. That is all. Thanks.